The story of any visit to Balch Park starts the same way. Darkness. Early morning darkness. But there comes with it great excitement. Excitement and anticipation of what is to come, and the prospect of the wonders to be seen during the drive from our house to our campsite almost 250 miles away. About the time the sun starts to rise, we pass the well-known sign announcing the world-famous Six Flags Magic Mountain. About an hour later, we stop at our new favorite restaurant to have a tasty breakfast. Comfortable outdoor seating available. From this point on, the places of interest along the road only increase in their importance. Just a side note. Many years ago, when the kids were small, we would leave for our camping trip after the morning rush hour, and then stop in Bakersfield for lunch. For many years prior, we had noticed an off-ramp on the freeway about 10 miles before Bakersfield that indicated it led to a town called Weed Patch. This was many years before Google, and we wondered about Weed Patch. In our imaginations, Weed Patch sounded like a charming, tidy little town, perhaps like an old-fashioned Mayberry. We imagined that it would be delightful to visit if we had the time. One year we decided that this time we would go with our imaginations and take the opportunity to eat our lunch in Weed Patch. Where in Weed Patch would we eat? We imagined that there would probably be some quaint little sidewalk cafe, or perhaps a little mom-and-pop sandwich shop. That would be nice. The worst-case scenario, we imagined, would be that we would eat at the Weed Patch McDonald's. With those pleasant thoughts in mind, we got off the freeway and drove 5 miles east, all the while anticipating our singular adventure in Weed Patch. Did such a place exist to match our imaginations? Well, did we eat at a little sidewalk cafe? Did we eat at Mom and Pop's sandwich shop? Did we eat at Weed Patch's McDonald's? We ate in Bakersfield. Well, this year, we bypassed the Weed Patch exit and continued down the highway without interruption. Some of our journey's highlights were more sensational than others. For example, the road to Shafter, just 11 miles off the highway, while notable, certainly wouldn't be rated overexciting. Sometime you might ask us about our past encounter with some nice folks from the pleasant little town of Shafter. Further up Highway 65, we turned east on Highway 190 at Porterville. And I don't have to remind you about Porterville. As normal and as innocent as it appears, if you go there, you won't come back. About 5 miles east of Porterville, you will notice on the left side of the road an unexpected area of pine trees. Many, many years ago, this was actually a very large Christmas tree farm with many of the trees well grown. Then we noticed that it wasn't being maintained anymore. After a few years, someone bought the property and made it into a KOA campground. They created some driveways through the trees and cleared some spaces large enough to accommodate tents or motorhomes. They built an office and clubhouse with games and services, a nice swimming pool, and a changing building with showers. When the kids were little, we would stop overnight at this KOA camp each year on our way home from our campout in Balch Park. It was nice to shower and swim and change, to be able to finish the drive home the next day all refreshed and clean. The kids loved the swimming pool. The place is now called Eagle's Nest. It's been many, many years since we stopped here. Just 1 mile down the road past Eagle's Nest is what may be the most anticipated on-the-road highlight of the entire trip. Just turn left from the roundabout, which in itself is a highlight. And there it is. That's right. Officially, it is named Success Market, but is usually referred to as the Bait Shop. Inside are many delectable items ranging from tacos and burritos and hamburgers to live bait. A completely stocked convenience store to pick up whatever it was that you forgot to bring. This year, something new was added. They have a new crawdad tank for their live, juicy crawdads. Now here's a note of interest. Crayfish, crawfish, and crawdads are all the same animal. The term you use depends on where you live. In the South, it's crawfish. In the North, it's crayfish. On the West Coast, it's called a crawdad. So mark this location on your map for a great place to drop in for a snack. Just don't mistake it for the other nearby highlight, High Dreams, another first-class establishment. I'm sure there's a great story regarding High Dreams, but that is for another time. Next is an on-the-road highlight that no one can miss, the Springville Ranch Barn. Notice on the right is the first sign on our trip that actually mentions Balch Park. This big white barn was built in 1945 and sits on the 14-acre Springville Ranch, which originally served as a highly successful breeding and training farm for harness horses. As we drove past here back in the early 70s, there were always horses trotting around the track. Years later, it started falling into disrepair. It was later purchased and a restoration was started. Currently, their Springville Ranch is privately owned and hosts various private and public events. The starting cost of a basic wedding here is between $6,000 and $7,000. About 3 miles down the road, we turn right on Bear Creek Road, which takes us all the way to Balch Park. It's only 15 miles to go from here, but by now we are all so anxious that it seems much longer. This Balch Park sign at the campground entrance was actually created by a man named Tex, who frequently camped here, and it was given to the park during the 1976 bicentennial celebration. Whenever Tex stayed in Balch Park, he was never without his dog, an old lazy three-legged beagle named Cleo. Anyone that ever talked about the old dog referred to it as the mayor of Balch Park. This year, we were very fortunate to be able to drive into the park and find that our favorite camping spots were vacant and available. The first thing on our agenda was for everyone to put up their tents. For more detailed information on the raising of our tent, please see the video, Our New Tent, now available on YouTube. In a surprisingly short time, all the tents were all set up, and it was time for a short rest before our first activity. Notice our close proximity to the lake. Even the sun shower bag was filled with water and laid out in the sun for its initial heating. A little later, you'll get a quick look at the sun shower in action. After the camp is all set up, we always take a hike around the lake. According to an old Scott family tradition, you won't catch any fish unless you first walk all the way around the lake without your fishing pole. Doing that shows the fish that you are their friend. Then later, we can come back and catch them and eat them. So with the camp all set up, we begin. For the sake of this video, it will be a quicker hike than normal, only stopping a few times to take in the beautiful scenery. Where we are standing right now is the top of the dam that extends from this end of the lake all the way to the far end on this side. There are lots of great places to fish. You can bring your own fishing chair with you or use these nice benches. There aren't many folks fishing today because there aren't many fish in the lake. When we got here, we learned that there had been a mishap at the hatchery, eliminating any chance of stocking for the rest of the year. Way down here at the end of the dam is this little bridge that goes over the spillway. In all the years we've been coming here, we have never named this bridge that sits here at the end of the dam. I wonder what we could call it. Maybe we'll ask Katie. Now from this side of the lake, there's a beautiful view. Here we're looking at the top of the dam and the full length of the lake. It is beautiful here, even without fish. Now we're coming up to a big fallen log that lies next to the shore, almost entirely in the water. Traditionally, we stop here and take a picture of the kids on the log. It's interesting to know that as many times as we've been here, and as many times the kids have climbed all over this log, even fishing from this log from time to time, no family member has ever fallen in. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Continuing around the lake, you come to the fishing spots that are very shady in the mornings. Usually this is not the best place for fishing, but over the years many fish have been caught from this side. There are always noisy ducks on the lake. Today they just happen to have gathered together to pose for us right here on this log. Both Balch Park lakes are filled with a freshwater spring that's just right ahead of here. There are lots of bushes growing here because of the constant water feed from this spring. At this point, we can't walk right next to the water because of the growth. So we head away from the edge of the lake a little and continue our journey around the lake and down through the meadow. On this path through the meadow, as long as we remember, there has always been a little log here to allow us to step over this little stream. It has always been a great bridge. We haven't named this bridge either. Here is a handy place to clean your fish. Each night, like clockwork, the bears come down here to rummage through the trash for delicious fish tidbits. We call it bear sushi. Here is a beautiful small grove of redwood trees with a few picnic tables. A nice cool place to eat lunch when the weather is extra hot down the mountain. As we speed through our hike, it looks like the ducks are trying to catch up. And here we come back to where we began, a quick trip around the Balch Park Upper Lake. Balch Park has some very unique archaeological sites, including the Indian bathtubs. So a must-do activity for every campout is to hike to the Indian bathtubs. The path takes us through a beautiful part of the forest that is always cool and shady with bracken fern covering the ground. we'll learn more about brackenfern on our nature hike. The origin and purpose of these basins is subject to great debate. They are large basins in the granite bedrock outcropping just up the mountain beyond the lower lake. There is some controversy regarding their origin. Because they are closely associated with the Indian bedrock mortar holes that are known to be man-made, most feel that these bathtubs are also man-made. However, other experts insist that the bathtubs are natural features in the rock that result from a complex erosion process. Some have even suggested that the bathtubs were created by alien visitors from outer space. Here we are enjoying a short trail mix break. The other two must-do activities are our walk to the hollow log and the nature hike. We must always take note of traffic signs along the road and watch out for the native wildlife in the park. Here is where the Balch Park Ranger lives from May through October or so. We're walking up toward the entrance to the park. The visitor center is on the right, and the hollow log is on the left. We've always enjoyed the hollow log. Years ago, you couldn't see through the tree from here on the bottom, but over the years, probably with a little help from young campers, there is now a small opening on the bottom, still too small to pass through. Here they are on top of the hollow log. Count carefully. There are actually 9 of them up there. Notice the nature trail signpost just to the right of the Lady Alice sign. This is number 2 on the list of attractions featured on the nature trail. More about the nature trail hike in a moment. This is the beautiful Lady Alice. This symmetrical Sierra redwood tree was once billed as the largest tree in the world. Just down the trail is the family photo bridge. We have taken our family photos here each year for the past 50 years. Unfortunately, not every photo has survived. Well, after looking at these, perhaps we don't really have to keep every family bridge photo. And now, the family nature trail hike. As we move on down the trail, we look for the numbered nature trail sign posts. Over 40 of these signposts are located along a loop trail that returns back to Balch Park. We have a printed Balch Park Nature Trail Guide that explains the feature at each numbered post. We all stop at each signpost, and everyone under 30 takes turns reading the information in the guidebook. The goal is for the reader to speak with a different accent each time. They do an amazing job. There are always some great surprises, and it's loads of fun, and also very educational. Lots of great activities to go and do each day. But just staying in the campground also provides great things to do. Here are a few of them. Our resident master chefs prepare breakfast for dinner on Friday. No matter which is your favorite thing while camping, it is always a great place to get back in touch.
Wait, I thought I saw it. Oh, right there. Back. No. I literally do not see it. Oh, there. Are you joking? No, we really were joking. I saw it. Go, Marcus, he's at the ducks.
I can catch these guys.
Catch one, Marcus. Catch it.
So close.
A bear?
Oh! What was that? Was that a frog? Yep.
I think it was a bear.
That's a snake.
Can't escape.
You gotta go like slow-mo pan over the pan.
I choose not to take that.
Good strategy.
And I choose not.
Walk.
Yeah. Yin yang.
Art. That. Carrot. Cheese. Anchor.
Cactus.
Man. Sunglasses. Ladybug. Washer. Sun. No, stop it! Stop it! Hand, eye, man, dolphin. Dolphin. Snowman. Dog. Water droplet thing.
Heart.
Heart.
Scissors.
No.
Scissors.
So that's it for this year's campout. Can't wait for next time. Balsh Park in the year 2020. Looking forward to our next new adventure.